Everybody was written on that.
In Star Wars, it's more than a half hour. So,
Just a little bit.
who here likes the Star Wars movies?
Woohoo!
Who doesn't like the Star Wars movies? So there are some that are in between, not really sure. Yeah. They're undecided. Maybe we should watch them. So anyway, this week is Force Week in the office because we like to have fun. So I personally enjoy the Star Wars movies, as do many of our team, but apparently not Dee Dee, so I'll have to work on that. But anyway, so tonight we are absolutely talking about innate intelligence, and we've put a little spin on it for extra fun this week. So one of my coaches often tells us to start with the end in mind. So we're going to start at the end tonight and work our way back to basically the end again, but basically the beginning. So, have you more faith in a knife or a spoonful of medicine than the power that animates the living world? That's a pretty strong spot to start, right? So does anybody have more faith in that stuff? So in case you did, here's what we're going to look at next. So there are designs in the world, and one of the, I'm not going to call it my theory because there are no new ideas in life. You can go to one book to find all the same things, but is that everything is created basically the same. If you look at things from the very basic cellular structure all the way up to the largest things like nebulas and galaxies in the universe, it all looks remarkably the same. I don't think that's by coincidence. So that's the same power that creates the entire universe that's inside every single one of us. So who are we to say that we need some drug or some medication or something cut out of our bodies to work the way we're supposed to when that's the power that's in us? So the birth of a cell is pretty awesome. It also looks exactly the same as the death of a star, which if anyone knows a little bit about astronomy, a death of a star is not the end of something, it's actually the beginning of something different. The brain cell looks exactly like the universe. So we talked a little bit earlier about how we were going to, about how I wish I could brain dump things. So we tried to put on, or I tried to put on the Star Wars music for the end of the day today because it's Star Wars week. And it kept coming up with different movies. And for some silly reason, I knew exactly what movie they were from. And I thought to myself, well, that's relatively useless information in comparison to the more important things in life. Sarah pointed out that it's important for me to be interesting, so that's fun. But I thought, you know, is there a finite amount of information that we could actually learn?
Finite being, once you get the information,
like you get so much and your hard drive is full.
Well, the universe is always expanding, so if it looks like that, why wouldn't our brain also?
Right. So a lot of times when we do these classes, I want to impart some of the philosophy of chiropractic, some of the reasons why I do what I do. And that conversation didn't happen by accident, and I had no intention of talking about that tonight. But that also means there's not a finite amount of health that we're able to have. Our health is literally limitless because we're designed to be incredibly healthy, thriving beings. So keeping that thought in mind, that's exactly where we're going to go tonight, and I haven't even started class yet. So, unleashing your innate intelligence, keep calm, use the force. Yeah? You like that? Pretty good, right? So, jumping in, what is your innate intelligence?
So depending on your religious belief, our God-given natural ability to heal and do what our bodies naturally do. Like animals instinctively know the processes of reproduction and caring for their children. The human body naturally knows what it needs to do to heal. You find yourself hungry for and you just reaching for something, but your body is motivating you towards the things that it needs you to get to it, so we don't recognize that's what's happening.
That's exactly it. So there's a huge difference between learned behaviors and things that we already all know how to do, right? So in a galaxy, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, and actually, I think it was Iowa, this guy named B.J. Palmer came up with the term, or sorry, D.D. Palmer, B.J. was his son, coined the term innate intelligence, which describes the energetic force that is in every single living thing. So think back to the picture just 2 slides ago, that it's the same force that's in the universe that resides in every single one of us and is doing its absolute best to help us live at our absolute best. But there are things that can stop that, and we're going to talk about some of those tonight too. And that's the man himself with an awesome beard. He's also very well dressed. But he started the whole thing of chiropractic. The story, the way it started, is he was what was called a magnetic healer, and in the late 1800s that was a very popular practice of medicine. And he had the building maintenance manager of the building was there, and he had lost his hearing in his left ear 17 years before that day in an accident. So as the story goes, he noticed that the top bone in his neck, which is called your atlas, was completely out of where it should be, and it took a little convincing, but he said, hey, can I put this bone back where it's supposed to go? And eventually, a guy named Harvey Lillard, which that is on some of your quizzes, so remember that, said, sure, let's go for it. Later that day, he could hear the horses on the cobblestone streets outside for the first time in 17 years. So most of us show up here for what? Pain and discomfort. And there's nothing wrong with showing up here for pain and discomfort. Somewhere around 80 to 90% of all the money spent every single year on our health care is related to pain and discomfort. Most of it is the same reason why you guys showed up here. And most people, by the time they get to the chiropractor, they have literally been everywhere else. I don't know why that's where we are in the history of chiropractic. And I mean, I guess that's okay, but that's why I teach these classes to change that. But most of the time, the person shows up in the chiropractic office the very first time, they have literally been through the gamut of other people telling them there's nothing that can be done to help. And that's simply not true. And I know that every single one of you know people who have been through that and need to know something that you've learned here, and that there is always hope, that that power that's inside your body is meant for you to thrive, not just go through life needing to feel okay and masking the actual problem. So, how does this innate intelligence communicate in our body? It's our nervous system. That's the primary thing that I focus on as a chiropractor, is your nervous system, because the nervous system is the master control system of your entire body. We know that we have something called vital needs in our body. We need to eat, some of us because we get hangry. We need to drink food. Well, I guess you could have smoothies, those are good for you. But we need to drink water, we need to breathe, and the thing that's more important than all of those, that has the most profound impact on our health, is our brain's ability to communicate with the rest of our body, and vice versa. So that innate intelligence is attempting to flow through us all the time, and it goes absolutely everywhere. So if you come over to my favorite chart, I think I'm off camera, but that's okay. We can see that this goes everywhere in the body. So this is what your spine should look like from the side. We should have these nice 3 strong, flexible curves that actually act as a shock-absorbing spring for everything we do in life. And then we have all the areas those nerves go. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but in unison, do you think the nerves of your spine go to some of your body or all of your body?
All of your body.
Absolutely go everywhere. How many people in the world don't know that? There's a lot of us, because we're never taught in school that all these systems that we learn about are the same system, and they're all controlled by the same thing, and we're really one giant thing all put together with 100 trillion cells, not a circulatory system and a skeletal system and a digestive system. It's all the same. So if we just pick a few of these out, if we start at that very top bone as an example, remember the nerves of the neck go back into your head. They go to things like your eyes, in Harvey Lillard's case, in all of your cases, your ears. They go to basically your thyroid, everything that's in the top of your head, your vocal cords, down your arms and your hands. It's all controlled by that. So we all know people who in life suffer from headaches, suffer from visual challenges, and I use this person all the time because she's always here. But Pamela, what do you say when you get adjusted?
Oh, you turn the lights on?
Turn the lights on. How does that possibly happen? Unless we reconnect the brain in her eyes better, so the world is actually a brighter, happier, more vibrant place. And that's just the very top bone of the neck. Imagine every place else all those nerves go. So outside of aches and pains, the only person that can be seen on camera is me. What are some of the challenges that you guys have come in with, or that you know people have, that they're suffering from every day and don't know a solution of?
Depression.
Yeah, the mood, emotion.
Yeah.
I personally have GI issues, and getting adjusted, I feel a lot better. So I see how it ties in. The more that I'm learning, I recognize the contribution that it makes to the other avenues that I didn't necessarily come in for.
That's huge. That's important. So anybody else want to share? Interaction.
Neuropathic pain. I used to get my legs going completely numb while driving, and then or they would hurt. It just depended on the hour. And so since getting adjusted on a very regular basis, that is almost non-existent. And when it is, I know I need to get adjusted and get in here. So
wow, right? So GI problems. Tons of people in the world have GI problems right now and believe that they're going to for the rest of their lives. You couldn't feel your legs while driving. That's not exactly the safest thing in the world, right? How many people are driving around that can't feel their legs, or that are on so many medications? We don't know what those things do together, that they're literally driving around what should be considered intoxicated. But because these things aren't illegal, it's perfectly fine. And if they get in a car accident, and if they hurt or injure or kill somebody,
Right.
Yeah, no one told them that these drugs are doing these horrible things that are destroying their reaction times and their ability to actually focus on what's going on. And it's not, I'm not saying it's their fault that it happened. It's the fault of the healthcare system that we have that put them on all those things in the first place. Because there has never been a study done that said, what do these two medications do together? Most of the people that come in this office at one point or another, based on new healthcare regulations from our awesome government, take that as you will, we need to get what's called an electronic healthcare, or electronic records, or EHR. So we need to see what all their medications are. We've had people come in who just print them off because there's like 40 of them. We don't know what 2 of them do together. What the heck are 40 doing? And we wonder if this innate intelligence, that even if we only talked about the atlas, what that's being blocked in our body and what that's not allowing to happen. So it controls everything. If it's blocked, it can't work. It's as simple as that. So you have to choose your side. Right?
I'm Sith, everybody.
All right, so I was going to, just for fun, everybody on one side of the room likes the Jedi, everybody else likes the Sith.
Wait, what side?
You're on the right side.
Well, I go to her back. You stay over there.
It depends on your organization, because you said Jedi believe they're doing a good thing.
Right, we don't have to move, we're just having some fun, but really, I mean, there's the dark side, and there's the light side, and there's all the stuff that goes along with it. But for the purpose of tonight, it's choosing to thrive or choosing to simply survive. Right, we would all choose to thrive if we knew better. More people die every single day for one reason than anything else. And does anyone know what that reason is?
What they believe to be
It's ignorance. People just simply don't know it's better. So yeah, people die every day because what they believe to be true, that simply isn't true. So we talk a lot in our classes about choice, because we all have a choice, and we all have a choice to be different than we are now and always be healthier than we are. So those of you on the Facebook page who saw the video Dr. Ash and I just put up yesterday. Ooh, 2 of you. So jump on the Facebook page, find it. So we're actually doing a challenge this month because we want to thrive more. We're already pretty healthy people. We do the right stuff. We exercise. We eat mostly the right food. But for this month, we invite every single one of you to join us. We're giving up things that we like. So bread, sugar, dairy, all the crap food that we shouldn't have in the first place. And you don't have to give all of it up. Just pick one. Right? But it's those little changes. It's those choices that will help you get to more thriving than simply surviving. Because if I polled every single person that lives in Hampton Roads, no one wants to survive if they know they have an opportunity to thrive. And it's the tiny little changes, those little things. So we're taking a big jump in trying to get rid of all this stuff. And I love cheese. I'm Swiss, I could live on the stuff. But I'm not going to eat it for the next 30 days because I made a commitment not to do it. And if I slip up because I respond better to a stick than a carrot, I never understood this. So a carrot is you reward yourself for getting something. A stick is you have to do something you don't really want to do that might not feel that great. So it's that I already work out every morning when I wake up. I have to do it again at the end of the day after I've seen everybody for the day, which take care of a lot of people. I'm very blessed that you all chose me as your doctor. And I'm tired after I've adjusted 100 and something spines. I don't want to work out, but if I ate something I shouldn't, then that's what I get to do because it helps me thrive even more. So it doesn't always mean it's comfortable, but it's what you need to do. So I'm going to pick on Tori. So what is one of our sayings in our coaching group?
Which one?
The one about comfortableness.
Oh, there's no such thing. Uncomfortable is the new comfortable.
Because what happens when you're comfortable?
You have to do it.
You just stay.
Hang out right here. You never grow. You're really falling behind. So comfortable is not fun. Be uncomfortable. Do things that challenge you to have more in life and be more on this side. Unless you're Sarah and you think these guys are better, but you know, whatever. So accessing your force. Nature needs no help, just no interference. It's as simple as that. It's not really hard to understand why chiropractic works. Because the only thing I do is remove the interference. You are the miracle. You are the one that does all the healing. It's not me. You're just making the choice to do the things that you need to do to let that innate intelligence work in the first place, so your inner Yoda can work. So you have to remove the interference, and we know that subluxations are on that list, but it's not just subluxations. There are toxins in every single one of our lives. Some of them are avoidable, some of them are not avoidable. Just purely the air we breathe is full of garbage, right? Our thoughts. So do we always have the thoughts we want all day? Are they always really good and positive and uplifting about ourselves? No. So your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. So unconscious, basically what science thinks is most of those thoughts are programmed in by the time you're like 5 or 6 years old or something like that. And then the conscious mind is the one that I hope you're all currently using. But one of them moves at about 1,000 miles an hour. The other one moves at about 100,000 miles an hour. Who's going to win? It's the subconscious every time, unless you choose to continually work on the things to reprogram that so you have more of those positive, healthy thoughts. So I am told sometimes by my team that I'm far too positive all the time, and it gets a little annoying.
No such thing. They need to get where you are.
That's right. That's right. Because there's always something good that can come out of any situation, whatever it is, however horrible it may seem, there's a life lesson to learn from that, whatever it is. So, any traumas that we have? So, I asked this last week, let's see who remembers. So the average 4-year-old has how many impacts to their spine? 4,000. You guys are listening. So if the average person who shows up to the chiropractor the first time to try to remove some of this interference, even though their outlook on the world doesn't allow them to even realize that they're being blocked from what's possible at that point because no one's ever told them differently, is 47 years old. If a 4-year-old has had over 4,000 impacts to their spine, how healthy do you think the average 47-year-old is? Yeah, it's not good. It's why we are the unhealthiest nation in the entire world and spend by far the most money on all of that stuff. Because we're fed a whole bunch of lies that tell us that we need things to be healthy, like the drugs or the high blood pressure medication or whatever it is, you can pick it, but we need things that aren't natural, that interfere with that inner force, that same power that animates the living world, to make us feel like we're doing okay, to make us feel more comfortable with the problem that we actually have. And what do? We then ignore it, and it gets worse and worse and worse. So even if it's traumas, car accidents, slips, falls, just little tiny things like working in your garden or hitting a water pipe that's not your water main, thankfully. That's for you, Tori.
Thanks, Dr. Steve.
So she's doing some gardening and chopping away at those roots, and that's a trauma itself. But then hits this little pipe and
It wasn't a root.
It wasn't roots, but it wasn't the main, so it's cool. So every adjustment removes the interference and unleashes your force. Right? So have any of you ever felt like, Doc, that last adjustment, that was the one. I don't know what she did. Man, do that again. I feel great. So it would be really easy to believe that on that day, I just happened to be like really zoned in to that same innate force that's in every single one of us, and that I just knew exactly what you needed on that day, right? Because that's what we're taught in our culture, is if something happens and I instantly feel great, it must have been that something. Oh, the fact of the matter is every single adjustment you ever have, every single healthy or unhealthy thing you do on your body compounds upon itself. So just because adjustment number 2 for some people and adjustment number 200 for some people may have that miraculous I feel great now, it's not because of what happened on that day. It's because of all the work and effort that's been put in the first place, because as long as that innate intelligence is blocked, as long as you have subluxations, your body is getting less healthy. It's getting closer to the side of the Sith. Sorry, Sarah. But, and it takes a while to get it back. Just because the ache or pain showed up today doesn't mean that it hasn't been there for decades. So the care that we do here is 100% designed for your entire life. It's not designed to show up when you're in pain and to disappear when you feel better. What percentage of your nervous system has the ability to even tell you there's a problem?
10%.
10%. So do you think if the world knew that only 10% of our body could tell us when there was a problem, we would make different choices?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's that tiny little piece of information that could literally change the health of our entire world. Portsmouth is the least healthy community in all of Hampton Roads. It actually has the highest rates of some cancers in the entire nation, because people just simply don't know that there's better things out there. So, how about when you hurt yourself? Is that when the problem happens?
No.
Maybe. There are big traumas and there are little traumas, and there are people who get in car accidents or fall downstairs. Yeah, that's a problem. But when the pain actually shows up, arthritis on average takes 30 years before the first ache or pain even shows up. So to say I've been here for X amount of visits or X amount of months and I feel better, thanks doc, you did great, see you later, that means I didn't do my job in the first place, because I didn't teach you that there's more in life than simply feeling okay. How about when you're sick? What heals you?
Time.
Time helps.
Money.
You heal.
You're innate.
You heal
The
you.
Yeah,
force.
you heal you. The force heals you. That's it. Come on. Everybody, the force.
The force.
So, sick posture equals a sick human being, right? So, I'm going to say the first part, you're going to say the second part. We're going to get this interaction thing down, guys. So, sick posture equals
Sick human being.
sick posture equals
Sick human
one
being.
more time. Sick posture equals
Sick human being.
So check people's postures. That's why we start every single person the very first test of looking at your posture.
Walk the spine.
Yeah, if you have someone you know and love who has crappy posture, it means they have crappy health, whether they feel that way or not. So whether it's that sickness, whether it's an emotional related thing, and Tori did an awesome testimonial a couple weeks ago. You can find it on our Facebook page on one of the other classes. I mean, this awesome woman used to be on all sorts of depression medication all of the time, and basically isn't anymore, right? So these things are possible when you give your body an opportunity. She believed for her whole life she had a chemical imbalance. She had a chemical imbalance because her innate intelligence couldn't communicate the way it's designed to in the first place. And it showed up as that symptom. How about when you feel fine?
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Nice. Well done. So those of you who got that have seen the movies. Those of you who don't, go home and watch them. But, yeah, if you feel fine, that's the most important time you can adjust it. Because that means whatever the problem is that caused it, we've removed enough of that interference so that small little 10% of your nervous system that could even give you the symptom in the first place no longer has pain or pressure on it. Which means more of your adjustment can go towards your thriving, more towards your overall health. Not time to go, I feel fine, see you later, doc. And I'm not saying this because it's good for me. No, it's good for you guys. I will get adjusted every single week for the rest of my life, regardless of how I feel, some weeks more than others, because I want to thrive my entire life. I want to live to over 100 years old and be the best that I can possibly be, not just simply kind of struggle through life and hope I get to the end of the race and still feel kind of like I can run the race, right? So, may the 4th be with you. Last year, this class just happened to fall right on the 4th, but we're not that lucky this year. But may the force of what's inside your body, that miraculous innate intelligence that's programmed into every single one of us from the time that very first cell is made and that birth of that first cell, express itself the best it can. There is a literal flash of light when those first 2 cells come together and start making that human being. That's not a coincidence. It's the force, right?
It's the force.
Some might say it's the soul, but whatever you believe it to be, life is already there. Life is designed to thrive. Life is not designed to struggle. So whether it's choosing to jump on to that part of that challenge that Dr. Ash and I are doing ourselves of giving up something you eat every day or something you do every day that you know isn't good for you, or helping somebody else to make that choice. Because we all know and all love people in our lives that are simply surviving, that aren't doing everything they could be doing, because they don't know any better. So my hope and my goal is that all of you will make better lifestyle choices for the rest of your life, and that you'll help other people do it. So in last week's class, we talked about how we're all always leaders, and we're all always followers. Someone's always watching what we're doing, and we're always watching somebody else. That person could be the little kid that you've never met walking down the street that goes, oh, that person's exercising, maybe I should do that, instead of sitting in front and playing a video game, right? It's the little things. So make sure you're making great choices that will always improve your health. So even when you make not the greatest choice, like you decide to have something not healthy for your health, it's not massively impactful to you. It's, I made this one little problem and now I have all these great things that I do. So do the things that are different. Do the things that make you uncomfortable so you can live the life that we're all designed to have. Because we're all designed to have healthier, more thriving, more abundant lives than any one of us could possibly wish or even comprehend for ourselves. So why not go after it? So go after it. Join us next week. We're going to do a proper posture, because remember, sick posture, some of you were in. Awesome. So be there. Bring people with you. Let's overflow the entire office, because the world needs to know this stuff, and the world needs a change compared to where it is right now. All right, we'll see you all next week for Sick Posture Equals